Let's go under the hood with the Nordstrom's Motor Medics.
Welcome to the Under the Hood Show. We are glad to have you with us. Russ Evans is here to answer your automotive questions.
Thanks for joining us under the hood.
Shannon Nordstrom is here to do the same.
Welcome, hoodies. Thanks for tuning in so we can help you tune up.
I'm Chris Carter here to answer your calls at 866-594-4150. Quickly, before we get to calls, there's a lot of calls coming in. We'll get to them. Shannon, you were out snowmobiling where all laws and common sense followed?
Yes.
Okay. That's good to know.
We had a very, very good time.
Okay. Good. Everyone's safe.
Everyone's safe. We were.
Did all of the snowmobiles make it back in one piece?
Did you read the text?
All of my snowmobiles made it back
Okay.
in one piece.
All right. Yeah.
A
Okay.
friend of mine still was able to ride his, but there was a boo-boo.
Not all the pieces were there.
No, and we had to creatively hold it together on the trail.
And not all of your snowmobiles came back with the same parts they left with. Yes? That is true?
We had one of them that had a blown belt going across the lake at speed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At common sense
Yeah.
speeds.
You were driving the 55 mile an hour DNR regulated speed, isn't
I
that
think
what it
that's
is?
what it is.
55?
I'm not
or
sure.
45?
Well, let's talk
Something
to
like
Jeff from
Let's go to North Dakota and talk to Jeff and change the subject. Jeff, you're on the Under the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
I have a 2021 Toyota 4Runner. It only has 6,000 miles on it because it's primarily a winter vehicle. And recently I've had an event, end of January. I was going to get on a busy street, and when I pushed on the accelerator, it went into limp mode, and on the dash it said brake and accelerator pressed simultaneously. And I was not doing that. And then it kept doing it, and then I got where I was going, and I started it up again, and it was fine, but I still made an appointment for the next morning anyway to have it checked out, and they said everything checks out fine. There's no codes, nothing's wrong with it. That night we went out for dinner, and it did it constantly to the point where it was like somebody was not happy with me because why are we driving this vehicle? And then it was kind of slippery that night where the day before it wasn't. And it got to the point where it kind of got better, where it would go into a little bit of traction control before it would go into limp mode. So the next morning I brought it in again, and they were interested. Yeah, bring it in right away. And they had it all day long, and they said they could not get it to duplicate. Everybody was driving the hell out of it. And it got to that finally they said, okay, it did it once, but they couldn't reduplicate it again, and there was no codes, nothing was wrong. And then finally it was getting closing time. They said, come pick it up. And then they told me that they had been in touch with Toyota corporate engineers and made it sound like nothing was wrong, but it has never done it since then. So I'm just wondering if there would be something going on behind the scenes, because I went down a long rabbit hole on this whole thing, and it all ties back to the programming that's put into the vehicle with the accelerator issues they had back in the 2000s, early 2000s or whatever it was. So I just want your thoughts on it.
Yeah, that was over 20 years ago.
Well, I'm flummoxed as to who could have been upset that they were in that vehicle. That's a mystery to me. I can't imagine who that would be.
So this only did it one time and it's never did it again?
No, it did it multiple times the first time, and then I made the appointment. And then after they had it for 4 hours, they said there's nothing wrong, no codes, nothing's wrong with it. But then it did it all that night after I picked it up, and it did it constantly over and over again. And then I brought it in the next day, and then that's when the next occurrence happened, when they said, okay, we had to do it once, but they really weren't sure. There's no codes.
They can't do anything.
They've been talking to.
Yeah, if there's nothing in there that's a hard fault, even if the shop sees the problem, that problem has to occur continuously and never stop for them to be able to find it. If they got in it and you had 10 people at that dealership drive the car and say, oh, yeah, I see it doing it right now. And then they plug into it, they try to diagnose it, and it doesn't do it continuously. It could do it just once here and there. They are never going to find it. It needs to be broken every time they try to accelerate. Then they can find it, because while they're testing it, if it's not actively occurring, there's no way to find out what it is. That's like, I don't even know what to compare it to. It's just not possible to find it. But if it's a hard code,
right,
then they'll say, okay, we've discovered this issue because of this code that's being set. We should replace this component.
I'm kind of curious, when you said you went down the rabbit hole, I'm assuming you started asking a lot of questions on the internet, and you ended up with someone saying that it was safeguarding programming that was put in back from years ago.
All cars do this now. If you step on the brake and the gas, most of the time it won't give you a message, but it won't accelerate. It's made to shut off the throttle when you step on the brake. So if it's got a bad brake switch and the brakes are actually being activated, if somebody was following you and saw that your brake lights came on when you were trying to accelerate, that would be a great tell right there, because there's no codes. It thinks it's doing what it's supposed to, but it's going to turn on. And weather differences could affect that if you've got a problem with that brake switch. So it thinks you're braking, but you're not braking, because that is standard. It's supposed to do it.
They checked all that stuff. Everything was perfect. Nothing was wrong with it. But it just intrigued me that it was after they had contacted Toyota corporate engineering that all of a sudden I haven't had the problem anymore.
Well, they may have tried something. If it was in there and they didn't make any repairs, they may have just reflashed everything in the software just to see what would happen. They're like, well, we couldn't find anything. You got some updates that need to be done. Let's do it. Because almost every car is going to have updates after it's 3 or 4 years old, because as parts wear, parameters need to be changed in order to not have lights come on.
Did they say if they did any programming to it, or did they just analyze?
They were really quiet about it. It was just kind of like when that came up, the Toyota thing, engineering, and all of a sudden it was like, whoop, they were done talking about it.
Well, and that's not unusual at all, because the techs
to do or to say?
No. Well, no, but I know techs. Russ knows techs that are in dealerships, and there's times where they've got a resource to reach out to if they're beating their head against the wall and they're not figuring something out. They've got a path they can follow that connects them to the resources at the manufacturer, including engineers if they need to go that far. And the service managers, they have to elevate things, but they have an ability to do that. That is not unusual for that to happen. But I would just, like Russ said, I'd be curious if that phone call or that email exchange or whatever it was led to them saying, hey, why don't you hook up to this thing and we're gonna update the software.
Yeah. This shouldn't be it, but we'll do this and then just see.
Or whatever they said and whatever they did.
We're going to do this and don't.
But we do know that with confidence that because of the noise from the unintended acceleration challenges that were out there, I mean, we talked about this in the show where they even took it to NASA engineers trying to figure out and said there's no way that could have happened with the safeguards that they had. And that's when the advent of the floor mats with the pegs in them to hold them back so they don't slide up under the accelerator and all that came into play was all during that time. And like Russ, I'm repeating him again, but they did put safeguards in the systems just to make sure, even more safeguards, just like the throttles have redundancy on the contacts in them, numerous ones on them, so that before with the electronic throttles to have safeguards in place. So I think that I appreciate you calling. I'd let my heart not be troubled about it, because at least it's not where it is completely stopping you. It goes into that limp mode and you're able to get somewhere, and it hasn't happened now for months.
Yeah, about a month.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, close to a month.
And we've had some, you're in North Dakota. What part of North Dakota are you in?
Fargo.
We've had some crazy temperature swings. We've been super cold. We've been moist. Now you're probably experiencing better weather. We've been all over the board here this winter. So, those things can affect the environment too, the ambient surroundings. And I think, those are such good vehicles. This is highly unusual, obviously.
Is it possible, or is he going internet crazy a little bit, that He brought it in. They talked to the corporate engineers. The corporate engineers fixed something and said, don't tell anybody. Is that logical? Or is it possible?
I think that's conspiracy theory too much
Yeah.
for me. I think that if they found something and said, you know what, we reflashed the computer, they didn't know if that would fix it or not, but we're going
Right.
to we want to get everything reset. It's just like your home computer. Sometimes the printer doesn't work,
Yeah.
and you're like, I can't figure out what's going on, and you just restart everything.
Delete it and
Well, no, not
reinstall
even
it.
that. You just you restart the computer, and the printer works again. Everything reconnects.
Yeah.
You know that happens. These are sophisticated systems in these vehicles. There's computer CAN bus networks talking to each other all over the vehicle.
Just
You know,
thinking,
it's-
sometimes my printer doesn't work if I don't use it for like a month and a half, and I'm not taking it outside.
No.
It's not raining where I take it.
Well, and then you find out the kids took all the paper out of it.
Yeah. Why is it out of paper? Where's the paper? Jeff, does that help you out at all, or just kind of let you move along?
No, yeah, that does help me out quite a bit. I'm not going to worry about it because it's been driving perfectly ever since. And I'm going to go with they maybe reflashed it, like you said, and cleaned it up.
There you go. Jeff, thanks very much for the call. 866-594-4150. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you on the Under the Hood Show.
Now, let's go under the hood with the Nordstrom's Motor Medics.
866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. Let's go to Pennsylvania and talk to Tom. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Tom, what can we do for you?
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
You
I
bet.
have the 17 Equinox with the rear main seal needing replacing. Any tips or tricks?
Fix the problem that caused the rear main seal to leak before replacing the rear main seal. If you pull the oil cap off and you've got pressure in there while it's running, that's what caused that seal to blow out of there. They never fail on their own. I've never once seen one fail because of wear. They just don't.
Highly unlikely.
What happens is,
No, I'm aware of the reason. It was very cold here that we haven't had. It froze up, and I have all the symptoms. I'm just going to pull the engine and wanted to know
okay,
if there's anything specifically I should look for.
nothing special. Dorman Products makes a complete rear cover for that. We use them in our shop.
Right.
And they're a partner of ours. You get the whole cover with the seal in the middle, and it even comes with a little ring that goes on there to protect it as you're putting it
Yeah.
together.
I've seen that. That's what I'm going to buy.
But do you know about the
What about
manifold
the
fix?
catch can?
No.
I'm sorry?
Do you know about the manifold fix for that? What
That
causes?
was third on my list here. To drill a little hole in the intake?
No, you don't need to do that.
No?
No.
Okay.
Because that only clears out the center hole. It doesn't clear out all of it. When you pull the intake off,
Okay.
which is going to be really easy for you if you're pulling the engine,
Right.
probably 10 minutes, take it off. You can either buy a complete updated intake that will have larger passages, but only to the point where the engine will still run fine. Because if they're too big, if they're drilled out, it won't run properly. But there's one in the center where they're showing you to drill on YouTube. But then that
Mhm.
tees off to 4 ports, one in each cylinder. Those will clog up as well.
Right.
You need to just take a little pick and clean out the carbon that's in the center one, and then spray some carburetor cleaner or throttle body cleaner into that hole and make sure it flows out of all 4 ports, and then blow it out with compressed air. That's what happens to the engine. That plugs up with a tiny bit of carbon,
Right.
and then you get that back pressure. And then once that happens, the tube that you see that you were talking about that froze up, that goes from the air cleaner
Right.
down to the engine, it's got a
Right.
little loop in it. They make a tube that's straighter so that the gravity
Mhm.
lets the moisture flow back into the engine, and with it breathing properly, it'll flow right on through and keep that tube clean, and you won't need a catch can, and you will have an engine that runs properly. Now, to keep that clean, you can either use an emission system cleaner kit and use it regularly, about once a year I'll usually do it, but you've got to spray it in there. It will go into the intake port. The CRC kit we use, it has you put it into the intake, you introduce it there where the throttle body is and the air cleaner, and it pulls it in,
Right.
and it gets sucked through those ports as it's vacuumed in through the
Okay.
it's not really, it's a PCV, but it's a a passive PCV without an actual valve. It just has those drilled ports, but it'll suck it in there and clean those out. And that's what you're looking for to keep that clean. Because those engines, they do get a bad rap because that plugs up and then it blows the rear seal out. The motor locks up because it's out of oil, or it burns a lot of oil, sticks the piston rings, and then they wear the cylinders, and then it consumes oil even with a new intake. And now what we found is if you do the maintenance on them, they have a lot less chance of the failure.
Okay. Yeah, I've only been putting the B12 in like every other oil change, but I never did the actual spraying it in the intake.
See, that'll get into the fuel system, and it will clean the injectors, which is perfect on that engine too. You do need to clean the injectors, but you also need to go through that intake, so it'll pull it through that port, which is the cause of the failure on these in most cases.
And this is a 2.4 that was used like from 2012 to 20 or 13, or what was that at? No, I was trying to get my years right there, but it was a long range of use on that engine.
8 to
Did it go back that far?
8 to 20, I think it is.
Yeah, it's a 2.4 that was real common. And there's a lot of these vehicles on the road. And then
We're still putting engines in them when they finally go. I mean, they're
good vehicles.
Yeah, they hold their value really well, surprisingly compared to their bigger brothers' vehicles.
Yeah.
That are not holding the value as well. The Equinox, I think it's just a popularity thing.
When I was Tom, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. When I was traveling, I was sitting next to some musicians from the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, and they were speaking German. And it was much like listening to that conversation between Tom and Russ to me. I didn't.
Basically, the engine was trying to operate with its nose plugged.
Mm-hmm. And you got to take a pick
and it
get
couldn't
in,
breathe.
and then
you had
make
to,
sure it goes to
you
the
had to open it
floor.
up so it could breathe. Otherwise, it's building internal pressure and it's popping the most easy to move piece out is the rear main seal on the crankshaft, and then it lets the oil fall out of the engine, and you got problems.
866-594-4150. Let's go to Arkansas and talk to Jill. You're on the End of the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Okay, I have a 96 Ford Ranger, and it's a 4-liter. And I keep getting a code P0171 and 0174. I know it's both banks lean.
Yeah. The most.
And
What have you done to it?
I'll let you speak first.
No, have you done anything to it? Replaced anything?
Okay, so I've cleaned the mass airflow sensor. I've cleaned the throttle body just because. I've checked for vacuum leaks. Not with a smoke detector, but spraying, carb cleaner around all the, intake and all that. Nothing. It idles perfect. It doesn't run rough or anything like that. And so, whenever I clear the code, it comes on right after, right off. It comes on exactly off idle. When I go to take off, it will pop the light on, and I'll check the code, and it's a 171. So now I am down to where it said it could be a fuel filter or a fuel pump. So I put a pressure gauge on it, and now it's either going to be the filter or the pump, I do believe. Reason being is this morning I go out there, and it's only getting to 28 with key on, engine off. Started it up. It went to 32 running. I disconnect the vacuum regulator and nothing changes. So I don't know. Could it be the regulator, or do you think it is either a fuel filter?
It should go up with the regulator disconnected, and I think those would go up to about 46 or 48 pounds. So it sounds like it's a little bit there. If that's, if you've got low fuel pressure, start with a filter, of course, and see if the pressure goes up.
Right, of course.
And if it doesn't,
And
then
now-
you'll probably need to, put a pump in there to get it. But once you get the pressure where it's supposed to be, even though you clean the mass airflow sensor, we've seen lots of those that fail. The sensors just wear out internally, and they can't. There's a resistor in there and a little transistor, and it heats a wire, and it has to measure how much. The computer measures how much amperage it takes to keep that wire at a certain temperature. And if that starts to fail, it can't do that any longer, and it's a very common part to fail.
So, are you saying once I get my fuel pressures up where they need to be, and if it happens, that should be where I should go next?
That's what I would do.
Okay, and it is, like I say, it is a 96 with 158,000 miles, so it is 30 years old, that pump in the tank, so that could still possibly be, but
For sure.
I know the filter first.
Filters. Oh, man. I bet that filter's really bad.
Is it internal, that filter?
No, it's external on that one.
Okay.
Luckily.
Well, he's in Arkansas. Hopefully that'll come apart. Up here, the lines would break trying to take it out because it'd be so rusty.
Gotcha.
Yours is probably clean.
866-594-4150. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you on the Under the Hood Show.
Shannon and Russ have spent their whole lives with their heads under the hood, and that's the way they like it. Now, let's go under the hood with the Nordstrom's Motor Medics.
866-594-4150. Don't forget, if you miss an episode of the show, you can catch it wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also watch us do the show on our social media channels. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel and join the Hoodie Fan Club at underthehoodshow.com, you could win a hoodie.
Like Jeffrey Yeager, no relation to Chuck. Congratulations from our friends over at Berkeley One Classics, celebrating 50 years of collector car coverage.
Do you know that for a fact?
No.
Okay. I would just let that hang out there.
Okay.
Mhm.
And Universal Technical Institute, find them at uti.edu. They're those folks that train mechanics. All sorts of them.
They didn't know what would happen. Whether he would turn into liquid or...
It's like he's going to break the sound barrier,
Yeah.
and what's going to happen?
Well, he might just...
I watched the first Space Shuttle Enterprise launch off the 747 modified for test runs.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, let it go.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
See what happens. And they're like, well, it should fly.
Yeah. It's plane shaped.
It worked.
Yeah.
But what was even more, it was in the same breath on YouTube, basically, as the Soviet space shuttle, the Buran.
Yeah.
There was nobody on that. It was remote control.
Okay.
That's even more impressive, don't you think?
Back then, yeah.
Yeah, back then, for the 70s, when you've got a...
If it worked. I mean, we don't know.
Well,
we don't know if it... They said it did.
it wasn't AI, so...
Yeah.
I mean, at least we have that, right?
Yeah, true.
But, yeah, a lot of people don't even know there was a Soviet space shuttle that looked just like
it.
Just like ours. I wonder how that happened.
866-594-4150. Let's go to Pennsylvania and talk to Rod. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Rod, what can we do for you?
Good morning, guys. I've been listening to your show for a decade or more and find it to be awesome.
Thank you.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you.
So I have an 18 F150 with the 2.7 EcoBoost, 100K miles. And over the last year or so, it started to develop a ringing, rattling noise on startup that over a period of maybe, 10 minutes as the car gets completely warmed up, disappears. I had initially hoped or thought this was a heat shield rattle, but crawling around underneath of it, I can't find a loose heat shield. And so now I'm worried it's a turbo wastegate that's acting up on me. And so if that's true, my main question is, how long can I go with this before I think about a repair?
Maybe forever. Ford's actually got a nice little bulletin. You remember that one, Shannon? You read it at a meeting. So Ford came out with his bulletin and said, if you have a brand new truck or you have a truck with 100,000 miles, it is normal for our turbocharged engines to rattle and creak and make ringing noises from the day they're purchased. And I wonder if they didn't do that as a way out of some of the warranties. Like when they say, oh, it's perfectly acceptable to burn 3 quarts of oil in 1,000 miles. That's our standard. As long as it meets that, you're not over. But I haven't seen a lot of turbos fail after they've developed that noise. I have a customer with one of these, and he pulls a boat all over the country with this thing. Not overweight. It's probably 50% of what it could pull. But it pulls all over the place. Thing's been ringing since he bought the truck with 160,000 miles. And I think it's got 275 on it now, which is a lot for one of those. But it's also had timing chains completely replaced in it, the whole kit. And that's what you got to worry about more than the turbos is those timing chains when they start getting loose on them. But then you fix them, and they keep going. And as long as you pull within their rated value and be very conservative about it, in that 70% range, they seem to pull and be very strong for a long time. When you get up in there, that 80%, which is what we recommend for everything, and that the manufacturers recommend at the most, that's fully loaded. And you get times where you're hitting 100 because 80% doesn't account for wind. It says we could have wind, we could have a little extra load. So if we're at 80, occasionally we'll bump up against the 100. But if you're at 70, you're going to be even lower. And when you tow, that's hard on a vehicle. That's like they call it, like high impact exercise. You tow.
Yeah, I don't pull anything with this truck. Really,
then you should last.
2,000 or 3,000 pound small trailer.
Oh, that's perfect. That's just a little exercise for that vehicle. I would listen to that rattle and not be too concerned with it until it becomes a source of burning oil, because you're getting oil in the intake tubes, or it rattles so bad that you're getting boost codes because you've got an under boost condition and it's not making the boost anymore. That's when I really get nervous. But that rattle, light upon acceleration, and definitely when you first start it, is pretty much considered normal. I hear it. If I don't hear it on one of those trucks when I start it up, I'm really surprised.
We have a Bronco Raptor, and it makes noise on startup, and we had to go back in for just normal service. And I just said, guys, you want to listen to that? Is that normal for this? It's only got 12,000 miles on it.
There you go.
And they came back with that answer. They said
it's normal.
They said the turbos are going to make some noise when it starts up, and it doesn't sound normal to me at all.
And since we're used to hearing, pretty much like I said, it's rare to hear one not do it. I believe what they're saying when they say, look, we've studied this, it's fine. But if I only heard this on 10%, or even, let's say even I'd go as high as 30. If 30% of every one of these I heard, no matter what the mileage did it, I'd say, no, they're just throwing that out there to cover it up. Just like the oil usage thing. Because if you have with the oil thing, I'll say it again because it just irks me to no end. When somebody calls me and says, oh, I have a 2019 Silverado and it burns 2 quarts of oil every 1,000 miles, but they won't do anything because they said it's normal. It said, you go out to your lot and pick 50 vehicles off that lot of any kind, any make. You pull that dipstick and they're not going to burn oil. So don't tell me it's normal for this one to burn oil when the rest of them do not. It's a cover-up.
Do they say it's normal or acceptable?
Acceptable.
Yeah.
There you go.
Some of the mechanics will use the normal word, but they say it's acceptable. It is not acceptable. It leads to catalytic converters plugging up early. It damaged engines. Lots of issues.
Rod, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. You just reminded me, we haven't gone up to that OHV yet with the off-road area up by Appleton. And come on, man. Let's go.
Kind of selfish.
Let's talk to George. You're on the Under the Hood Show. George, what can we do for you?
Hi, good morning. Say, I have a 2018 Cadillac XT5. It's got about 82,000 miles on it. And on Monday, my wife was coming back from town and she swerved, a little bit right, left to miss something on the road. And she got this steering assist reduced action required message. So she dismissed it and we didn't think much of it. So I looked a little bit on the internet, but the next day she started the car with the remote start in the garage. And when she went out to open the garage door, she thought the engine sounded like it was running louder than normal. And so when she got in and hit the start button, that message popped up again. And so she dismissed it again. And then she drove like 240 miles and turned the car on and off a couple times. And that message never appeared again. And we drove it again yesterday, about 20 miles, and no message again. So we're wondering just what it sounds like from internet stuff that I looked up. It was like they call it the water outlet or something. And I don't have a code reader, so I can't see if there's any codes.
What just entertain me a little bit further. What kind of Caddy is it? 18 Caddy? What brand, what model?
An
XT5.
XT5.
Oh, I didn't hear.
Yeah, it's got the 6-cylinder in it.
That you're not done with this. It's going to keep coming back. If it's got a steering assist more than once, it either has low voltage because it has an alternator issue or a wire issue that's it's melted at the alternator. We've seen that on those. Or you're going to need more than likely the electric steering gear for that, which it's electric assist. Those fail a lot. As far as steering gears go, all the electric steering units fail a lot. At some point, you'll see it in different vehicles. Some are better than others, but with these, you'll see it'll fail, and then the steering is going to be it's just more difficult to turn. It's going to take both hands to turn it, and you're only going to be able to turn it while you're rolling.
Right.
But you will be able to still turn it. If she's trying to drive it in the parking lot, she's going to think she can't turn it at all because you won't be able to unless you roll the car. The faster you're going, the easier it's going to be to move it.
On its wheels.
Yeah, I looked on it. Yeah.
I
looked on the internet a little bit, and they talked about the water outlet or a thermostat problem causing that to come up. There was some kind of a service bulletin this guy was talking about.
If it's leaking on electronic components.
158.
Yeah, if it's leaking on electronic components, yes.
Okay.
If you've got a thermostat housing and it's leaking onto the belt and the belt slips, it will give you a steering assist issue. That can happen. So that's in that alternator. You've got to look at the charging system and make sure it's functioning properly, because if the voltage is low, you're going to get steering assist pretty quickly.
That the part that's odd to me more is when she opened the garage door and thought it sounded louder. That has really no correlation.
Was the car running in a closed garage? That's the first thing I heard.
did it echo different or something? This is her normal, correct?
Right, yeah. But, I mean, we've started it before in there, and it's usually fairly quiet. So I was wondering if it was the engine fan that was running, just after it had just been started.
Air pump. There's an air pump in there. So, yeah, that air pump would echo.
And if it was 20 degrees colder than normal,
then
anything could really, it could be something, but that's a normal thing for one time when you listen.
Yeah.
Especially if you're hyper aware of that your car has an issue.
And she just used the menu on the steering wheel to cancel what the message that came up?
Yes.
So there was never a code set per se. It was a message. No check engine light came on or anything like that.
Correct. That's correct. Yep. No check engine lights or anything like that. So you're saying that the generator or alternator, would we check the voltage on the output of the alternator or at the battery to see how that's?
Yeah, it needs to be checked at the battery, but you also need to inspect that belt to make sure it does not have coolant leaking on it. Because if it does have coolant leaking on it on the front side of that engine, it's going to cause it to slip, and it's not the belt, the alternator that's the problem. It's the coolant getting on it causing it to slip. That's why they put splash shields under the car. One of the reasons they want to keep water from the road and snow and things from getting in there, because once the belt gets wet, it'll slip. It's got a lot of traction going on in there.
That still has a power steering pump on it?
No, electric.
Okay.
It's running low on voltage. If the alternator slips,
that I got it. I
wasn't
wasn't tracking what you were doing there. Okay.
And some of these modern cars,
sense.
an alternator could draw 10 to 12 horsepower, so it's really got a.
So then they get a low voltage situation, and then it causes the error to come up.
George, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-4150. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you on the Under the Hood Show.
Get under the hood. Call the Motor Medics, 866-594-4150.
866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. Let's talk to Kurt. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Kurt, what can we do for you?
Yeah, I heard you talk on antifreeze or fluids. Just when I tuned in here before the break, and I thought, you might have an answer. I got a 97 Grand Marquis with that, 4.6 V8, kind of the common engine in those, Crown Victorias, etc. I pretty much what's happening, we'll say about 5 months ago, 5,000 miles, give or take, either way. Pretty close. I believe I was pretty much completely out of antifreeze in the reservoir. And, I guess maybe I hadn't glanced at it for a while, so I filled it up. I was just looking the other day, and it was completely drained again. Now, this is when it had been sitting overnight or several nights, whatever, both times. So it was completely a cool engine. And so now within five months, 5,000 miles, roughly, it's completely drained again. I have no idea where that fluid is going. I have not seen any leaks on the floor, or I haven't noticed any during driving periods. Just don't know where it's going. Just kind of wondering where do you start on that?
Knowing what we do about those cars, the first place I would look would be to take that coolant reservoir, take the one bolt out of it, slide it out of its bracket, and look at the bottom side of it. The bottom side of those will develop a crack. The Ford Taurus will do the same thing. I believe it's the same bottle. And it will run down that crack, down the inner fender liner, into the corner of the car and just dissipate underneath. It'll blow away as it's going. And it happens when it gets warmer. So when it's cold, it's not like it sits there and leaves a puddle in the driveway. It just does it under pressure when it's warm. And it will just get down below that level, and it'll kind of stay there. The engine won't overheat, but it's too low. Sometimes your heater won't work as well as it should. If you go to Advanced Auto Parts, you can ask them for a coolant reservoir bottle if you discover that's what it is. And you can choose any one of them. They'll probably have 2, maybe 3, and you just pick the best price for the one you want. They're all going to be a good quality part. And then taking it off and putting it on is really simple. You've got the one hose clamp on the end of it, and then you've got the one nut that holds it on. The hardest thing is going to be getting the nut off of there. You're going to, make sure you don't break it. If you do, don't worry about it too much. You can put a bolt and a nut through the fender from the bottom, the fender liner. Just put a nut on top of it. That's what we do. But we see a lot of those reservoirs leaking. We pressure test them. Of course, we're doing it when it's cold. It's in the shop. It's not running. And sometimes we can't find it. And then I pull that bottle off, turn it over, and I look at the bottom, and I can see like a little dirt line. It's a line that's stained with that coolant, but it's damp on there. So I know it's been leaking there. It's kind of an off-color, yellowish clear, so you can really see where it's distorted under there. But I'll bet that's probably where it's leaking from. That's the most common issue.
Second most common would be the intake manifold.
The whole intake manifold.
Yeah, and that's got the thermostat housing integrated into it.
Right, and they corrode in the corners.
Yep, and they will dissipate a little bit of antifreeze, and then the heat of the engine can...
Yeah, because they get the valley. It goes in the valley.
And burns it away. You typically smell
just a
that
little bit.
Sweet smell of antifreeze when it's that... Either one of them, but the one when it's burning on the engine, somebody with a keen nose should smell that when they're walking by.
I got one leaking up at the shop right now. Can you smell it from here?
I might be able to.
Yeah,
I got a good nose for that
it's
antifreeze.
only a few miles.
You're like a bomb-sniffing dog. You just
antifreeze sniffing dog.
Uh-huh.
But that is something that is a common issue, and I know Dorman Products sells a much better than original intake manifold that we've sold a lot of in the past. Not as many of those in that era, but there's still a bunch of them on the road. Because we're assuming you're not seeing any antifreeze on the floor, like you said, and you're not getting anything into the oil, or else you'd notice that.
Nope. I've checked that diligently. Just quickly, what's a lot of labor involved for you to do that job? Besides, I'm not talking the tank, but the manifold. Is that a lot of labor on your end to have that done for me, or
it's
how
a few hours.
Is
Yeah, it's not awful. It's a few hours to do it.
Yeah, it's a plastic intake. It's got stuff hooked to it that takes as long as anything. And then
it can be checked before, like at our shop, when we do one of these, we inspect it first, get you a free estimate, and then you can decide if you want to fix it.
Kurt, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Greg. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Greg, what can we do for you?
Good morning. I got a 2018 Dodge Durango with a 3.6 in it with a P0171 code. And we're getting about 25% fuel trim on bank one. We've smoke tested the intake, compression tested it, leak down tested it, tested the back pressure in the cat, and just can't get that fuel trim straightened out.
We've done a few injectors in these vehicles. It's very likely you've got one that's clogged or electrically not the same as the others. First step, easiest, without taking it out, you can test each injector as you go, see what the resistance of them is, and if they're all the same, then you can put a fuel pressure gauge on it, key on, engine off with it, with the fuel pump running, turn that injector on and see what your drop is. See how fast it drops and watch it on all of them. And you just do it one at a time, and then you start the engine in between to clear out that fuel, go to the next one, turn it on, and then so on. And you go through, and sometimes you'll find that there's not much of a drop on one, or it's a very slow drop of the gauge, whereas the other one's just right down to zero as soon as you activate it. That's telling you that injector is dirty. It's clogged up, and most of the time you'll just replace it because cleaning it's not really an option without a reverse flow injector cleaner setup. That's how they rebuild a lot of them. Sure. They say they're rebuilt, but what they do is they put them on a bank backwards, plug them in, that activates them, blows them out backwards. They make sure they flow test well without the screen, and if they do, they put new screens in them, new O-rings, and package them up, and then they're refurbished.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Would that make the upstream and downstream O2 sensors mimic each other?
If they're both running really lean, it's a good indication that the car is actually lean. If you've got one that's rich and one that's lean, it's usually one sensor that is failing. They're both getting a lean signal, but one is failing, thinking it's a little richer than it is. So the computer says, "Oh, we're fine. We don't need to give it any more fuel." So if you've got even a downstream, sometime if that's reading, telling the computer that things are really rich, and then the other one might show really lean. So, oxygen sensors especially on a Chrysler like that, can really throw things off. And if they've got to 100,000 miles already, they may be failed. They wear out. They're like a spark plug. They only have so much time on them with the zirconium that's in them, and once it's used up, they get very slow and stop working.
Would it be sensical if he hasn't ever? Would you just put in new injectors?
If you're fighting a fuel trim issues and it's got over 100,000 miles, one of the first things that we look at is the fuel injectors. So I would say, yeah, I would check them all. You could even switch them from one bank to the other. Take all the driver's side, put them on the passenger side.
Then you get a 174.
Exactly.
Right?
How did you know that?
I just remembered it earlier the hour. He said he had a 171 and a 174, both banks.
Wouldn't you think that'd be a 1 and 2, bank 1 and 2?
And then I figured 2 was rich, or 2. What are 2 and 3?
Well, there's upstream, there's downstream, rich, and there's lean. So
some pretty good deductive listening and reasoning.
How about me, huh?
Yeah.
That is.
Could
really
you do
something.
it tomorrow again?
No. No.
I know how that goes.
Yeah. I knew that yesterday. I just don't remember it. That's totally.
We'll call your show tomorrow morning. Hey, Chris, Doc, I've got a question.
Yeah.
I've got a P0174.
And with a 3.6 in that era, don't ever underestimate to make sure you do a leak down test and make sure all the valves are healthy and make sure the engine's state of health is good.
Why'd you have to say that?
Because he owned one.
Personal experience.
That's going to do it for this hour of the Under the Hood Show. Hour 2 is coming up. The phone number to reach us, 866-594-4150. You're listening to the Under the Hood Show.
You're listening to the Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show with the Motor Medics, Shannon Nordstrom and Russ the Super Tech Evans. Shannon is an ASE engine and parts specialist. And Russ is an ASE Master Certified Technician with extensive factory drivability training. The Under the Hood Show is heard weekly on this and other great radio stations.
With Russ Evans, this is Shannon Nordstrom, thanking you for tuning in to the Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show. Have a great day, and remember, PTLA.
The opinions heard on this program, based on the many years of experience of Russ and Shannon, are offered for entertainment value and as a guide to your repair needs. No guarantee to repair or cause is given or implied. Always check with your favorite certified technician and follow all safety procedures before attempting repair. The Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show with the Motor Medics is reproduced and distributed by Prairie House Productions. Have questions for the Motor Medics? Call our 24-hour toll-free number, 866-594-4150. All content of the Under the Hood Show is the property of Nordstrom's Incorporated. Copyright Nordstrom's Automotive and may be reproduced with our permission.
Now, let's go under the hood with the Nordstrom's Motor Medics.
Welcome to the Under the Hood Show. We are glad to have you with us. Russ Evans is here to answer your automotive questions.
Thanks for joining us under the hood.
Shannon Nordstrom is here to do the same.
Welcome, hoodies. Thanks for tuning in so we can help you tune up.
I'm Chris Carter, here to answer your calls at 866-594-4150. Got calls coming in from all over the place, so let's start right there. First in New Jersey, we'll talk to Keith. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Keith, what can we do for you?
Hey there, how are you?
Fantastic.
All right. I kind of have a double question, or just want to get your feedback on the same truck, two issues. 2022 Toyota Tundra. I bought it used, and unfortunately, I didn't do enough research, and I got a list of recalls on it, and one of the recalls was replace the motor. I'm wondering whether I did the recall, and I'm wondering whether I should consider selling this truck or keeping it for the long haul because of the issues they've had with the motors. That's question one. And question two is, at about 70, 80 miles an hour on the freeway, once a month, you might hear a thump or bang in the transmission area. I've taken it in, and they said there's nothing wrong with the transmission. So I wanted to get your feedback on those 2 points.
That truck must have the turbo engine?
Yes, I think it's twin turbo.
Yeah, and they had that was a very limited recall on that particular engine because of machining material that was not completely cleaned out, and it damaged some of the main bearings. And I was on the route riding with a delivery driver one day, and I was at a Toyota dealership, and they had two of those motors coming in the back room, and I'm a curious person. I said, what are these in the crates? And they said they were recall motors on the twin turbo recall. And I said, well, the new one's good. They said, yeah, we haven't had any problems. And this is somebody that I know. I mean, they had no reason to tell me any different. But I think they got the problem fixed. I would be kind of excited to have a new motor in there, actually. What miles was the motor put in? And play that back again for me. How many miles are on the new motor?
It was replaced at 14,000 miles.
Yeah, and then how many miles are on the truck now?
22,000.
Yeah, most of those that had problems, if I'm recalling correctly, had the problems early in their life because it caused the problem. It put stress on the bearings because it ran material through the oil, and then it was like, okay, it's making noise. Oh, it's locking up. Oh, it's going to be bad. And I wouldn't be concerned about the motor. That's my own opinion, just based on talking to people. It's a very strong motor too. I mean, that's a powerful truck. That's a beautiful, fun truck. Is it a TRD?
It is not.
Okay. Because I like the looks of those trucks with the TRD package on them. That's a good looking truck.
Is that the truck that pulled the space shuttle in the commercial? That was a Tundra, right?
That was an old commercial.
Yeah. That doesn't matter.
You're getting
to me,
up there, Chris.
Was that at the Toyota Experience Center?
It doesn't matter. To me,
that wasn't it? That Tundra?
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
Yes, it was.
If the Tundra...
the video was playing of it.
I think so.
Yeah, that's
If it pulled the space shuttle in a commercial, I drive a Toyota. I can pull a camper that weighs 100,000 pounds. That's how it works. It doesn't matter when it was or what the truck was. I now think that I can... So don't burst my bubble. I'm going to go pull space shuttles around, even in
the other recalls that you had. Get Chris back with us here.
Yeah.
The other recalls that you had, other than the engine, what kind of stuff was it? That's not unusual either, but what kind of stuff was it?
The rear view camera not functioning properly.
That's about every
car.
50% of the vehicles in the world right now.
Something to do with the fuel lines. I forget what that one was. I forget, to be honest.
Was that before the engine or after the engine? What was the chronological timeline on the fuel lines?
It was at the same time.
See, my guess would be when they did the engine, they made sure and inspect all that and take care of it. I wouldn't worry about any of that stuff if the truck's working good and seems good. I'm just a little nervous about that transmission noise, just the way you described it. You should not be getting clunking, dropping, going down the freeway. Even though that is a multi-gear transmission, they will at times make some funky shifts that you're not used to when you got an 8 or a 10-speed transmission. And if it does that, it can sometimes feel like a pretty good
chunk.
But it what you described, the first word I thought, I don't know if I like that so much. It was almost not like it was not holding a gear, or a planetary set was shifting, or something was happening there. Has it done it frequently?
No, I would say maybe once a month, and I took it in, and they did their checks on it, Toyota, and they said everything's fine. And since then, it's done it one time, and it's typically when I hear the noise, I look at the speedometer, and it's typically around 65 to 80 miles an hour.
Does the RPM dramatically change when it makes the noise?
No, it does not.
Does it change at all when it makes the noise?
Slightly.
And the truck still today got 22,000 miles on it?
Exactly.
That it doesn't sound like it should be making a noise that's that apparent. Do they hear it when they drive it? Do they say, oh, there it is, and they can say, yep, I hear it? Or how's that go?
They said they did not hear anything, and they said that there was a shield that was loose, that they tightened some type of heat shield, and they said that might have even been the noise. But since then, it has made that noise maybe once or twice.
Well, I know Russ has brought this up before to people, and you hate to be that pushy customer, but if they're saying it's normal and you have it happen frequently, I'd say monthly's fairly frequently, and you can do it, well, I'm going to back away from what I'm saying, I think. Because you couldn't go grab another one off the lot and say, let's go for a drive, because it may not do it.
For 3 days.
Yeah.
For a month.
Yeah, but it's it probably is just something in the shifting, but I don't know. I'd have a hard time getting too worked up about it.
Because it happens once a month.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's starting, that's a...
Russ, what do you think?
That's just forget about that one until it gets worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'd worry about it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and I'm assuming they inspected the fluid, and on some vehicles nowadays we've got fluid replacements because you'll get torque converters shuttering and hanging up, but it's not what you're describing. It sounds different. There's a lot of things in that drivetrain that could be shifting or moving or creating that at a certain resonance resonation down the highway, or whatever it might happen to be. So until it does it more frequently, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
You don't go to one place every month and there's like one bulge in the pavement that I drive to the school once a month, and every time I do, my transmission makes a noise as I get off the interstate at that exit. That would be nice. That would be nice to find out if it were just something in the road.
What package does this one have? You said it wasn't a TRD. Is it any fun package on it, or is it your good old Toyota Tundra?
Just a good old Toyota Tundra, but it I'm not sure, it's not TRD, but it's pretty decked out. It's got the leather and the big touch screen and everything, and it's very nice. Well,
to have the twin turbo engine, it's a higher end package typically. So,
Keith, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-5800. 4150. You're listening to the Under the Hood Show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you.
Free car advice. Now that's something new. This is Under the Hood.
866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. Now we're going to talk to Jim. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Jim, what can we do for you?
Yes, lawnmower problem. I had I drained the gas last fall, put a little bit of stabilizer in the tank. I wanted to mow some leaves up, and it won't start. I put a little bit of gas through the air filter. Took the air filter off, put a little gas in there, and it starts about a half a dozen times, but won't keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like the main jet and the carburetor's just clogged up, and they do that over time. Even if you put fuel stabilizer in them, they're with infrequent running, they'll build up a little bit of gum and varnish in there, and it has to be cleaned. Now, they've got a couple different style carburetors. They've got some that are floatless. They just got a little diaphragm in there, and then they've got other ones that do have a float. The ones with the float, you can take them apart and clean them out. A lot of times you can just take, there's a nut in the bottom where the main jet screw comes out. You can unscrew it, and you can spray in there. We don't do a lot of small engines at our shop, but occasionally I'm working on them at my house, and you can use, our partner CRC has a carburetor cleaner that's got a little wand on it. You could get up inside of there and spray through there. Once you take that main jet out, screw it in first though, and count how many turns. It's probably gonna be about 1.5 to 2.5 as you turn it in, but you want to count that, write it down before you unscrew it all the way, because it's going to be about 10, 15 turns. And then spray that up in there, through there. You can wash it out pretty good. It'll evaporate really quick. But then put that main jet back in at the same amount of turns and see if it'll run. You may have to put a little carb cleaner or gas. I mean, you were doing it with gas, but carb cleaner will actually run it too. And then once you get it going, it may clear that out. If that doesn't do it, you're going to have to remove the carburetor and have it cleaned, professionally cleaned to get the gunk out of it.
What kind of lawnmower is it, Jim?
It's about 3 years old. It's a Briggs.
It's not really that old to have one that's clogging up already, but they can. I've seen them clog up at 4 or 5 years, a lot. It just depends on how often it's used.
It's winter, right? I mean, we know that. Is that affecting it at all? I mean, if it's 10 degrees, I don't know what it is.
Not running it now, but yes, they're very hard to start when they're cold.
It started about a half a dozen times, but when that gas runs out, it quits.
Yep. And it also just make sure, the first thing you want to make sure is that it's getting fuel from we went to the dirty carburetor thing, but take the fuel line off the carburetor and make sure that fuel is running from the tank out the line, because it may be that the little filter screen in the carburetor or in line, some of them have a little inline sock that gets pushed in there, and it may be clogged up. You may just not be getting any fuel to the carburetor.
Yeah, that's a gravity flow system that should be able to take that off the carburetor, and you should be able to be having to stop fuel from running out.
Yeah.
Because it's winter. That's why it stopped.
Snowblower.
Jim, where are you?
Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
Hawaii.
It's winter.
Okay, so you're digging on this. Jim, are you just trying to start this lawnmower, or you got a snowblower hooked to it?
I have a lot of late leaves that came down, and I thought today, this weather we have, it'd be a good time to mow them up.
Okay. So, Chris,
this is a problem today.
This is a now problem.
Oh, I like that.
Snowblower starts. Why wouldn't this start? It's the same thing.
Yeah, except it's not.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing, except if you have a lawnmower and you go try to start it when it's 20 below, it's not going to start.
Like your snowblower?
No, my snowblower, I ran it last week. It's going to start.
Have you put did you put a big load of fuel stabilizer or anything different in it this year before you put it away?
I just put a little bit in the tank, and then I turned it over a few times. It was out of gas.
Okay, but no, this fall when you put it away, did you do anything special to it?
Just a stabilizer. Drained emptied all the gas out, and I run all the gas out and put stabilizer in it.
So all that's
and
in
pulled
there
it over a few times and put it away.
So all that's in there was straight stabilizer. Now you've
and
added.
Now I poured gas on top of that yesterday.
You might try pulling that bowl off and just emptying the bowl and just starting with a clean flow of gas. Just try that.
That's a good. I was just reading an article the other day, a column actually from a columnist. And my lawnmower, my snowblower, whatever it is, should I store it? Should I run it out of gas, or should I fill it with clean stabilizer?
No, don't run it out of gas. If you're going to use it every year, stabilizer in the fuel, keep everything from drying out.
Yeah.
If you run that thing out of gas, you're going to have a problem with it. The only time to run something out of gas is if you're going to permanently store it for, you're going to park it for 4 or 5 years or longer, then you run it out of fuel.
And based on where you're going to store it, it's typically better to have a full tank of fuel,
right,
to stop the condensation that might build up if it's pressure changes from temperature and so. But there again, that's a pretty sealed system. It's typically fine. I don't have a lot of problems, and I've stored some in cold warehouses and some in warm warehouses, and I typically don't have a lot of problems.
Jim, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. I like that it's a today problem. That's kind of interesting. 866-594-4150. Let's go to California and talk to Quinn. You're on the End of the Hood Show. Quinn, what can we do for you?
Well, I got a 2008 F250 with a diesel in it, and I was driving it the other day, and it went into limp mode. Got it home, pulled the codes on it, and it said it was too high on engine oil, so I pulled the dipstick, and it was halfway up the dipstick. I was just kind of thinking where to dig into it.
And this is an 08 with the bi-turbo diesel?
It's the Power Stroke 6.4, I think.
Yeah, it's a 6.4 is bi-turbo diesel. So
yeah, it doesn't have that many. It's got 124,000 miles on it, but it doesn't get driven that much.
Well, first step is to drain that out of there and completely change the oil, and then find out what was in that old oil. You can take a sample of it, send it in. They have companies, lots of them that'll
right
do
on
that.
Amazon, you get a kit.
You can order a kit, and then you send it in. They analyze it, and they tell you what it is. So they'll tell you that's coolant, or they'll say that's transmission fluid. You got an internal radiator leak, something's broken, it's leaking. Or they'll say that's diesel fuel. You got an injector issue where it's pouring extra fuel.
That's the most likely culprit, right, Russ? The
More
diesel
than
fuel?
likely it's diesel fuel. You've got to build up. If it's not run very often, you got to something leaking.
Did the oil look a little extra liquidy?
It looks a little thin. My guess is it's diesel. Has a little bit of a diesel smell to it. It did a couple years ago. It's our family ranch truck, and I was out of town, and they put injectors in it 2 years ago, at about 100,000 miles.
Yeah, there's injectors that can stick open, but there's also like injector cups that are around the injectors that can cause it to leak. There's
okay,
but I mean, more than likely, because
I've done injectors.
You're smart enough to know the difference. If it had coolant in it, you'd see it. You'd know there's coolant in it. If it was transmission fluid, it's going to really have a problem somewhere else. If you lost that much transmission fluid, your transmission's going to be acting funny.
We don't know that he's smart enough to know that.
I think he is. He's already told me he's got this diesel truck and he lives on a ranch.
Okay.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I'm not afraid. I've done injectors. I've got a Chevy truck. I've done injectors twice on that. I've put a new engine in my gas truck myself. So
yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out where to dig into it first.
Most likely, most likely diesel fuel in around the injectors.
That's Chris Carter, 123 Nordstrom's Road.
That is so yeah. These trucks, when they run, they're strong. But that was kind of the gap between the 6.0 and the 6.7 was that 6.4.
I've got another one that's 6.7 that I love. Another question. I was watching something on YouTube. And the guy said on the regen cycle that it dumps fuel in the injectors, and if it's only used on short trips, you can have issues. Is that possible, or is there a way to figure out if that's what's been going on?
No, I don't think so. I think that's
Did the
it's not gonna
old
burn off completely.
the
in the
6.4
exhaust.
never had a regen, did it?
Yeah, I think that. It's got.
It has a particulate filter.
Yeah, with a particulate filter, it's going to read.
No, it doesn't have depth.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah,
read.
it
It'll
doesn't have
regen.
depth. It has a particulate.
Yeah, with a particulate filter, it's going to regenerate because it's got to regenerate the filter and clean that out. But it shouldn't, because the fuel that you're in that case would be getting into the exhaust and not completely burning. It's not going to be getting down into the cylinder.
Yeah, no white smoke.
No, not unless you shut it off right in
Yeah,
the middle
no,
of a
they
cycle.
want-
At the beginning of the cycle.
Okay.
That would be unusual too.
Just drain the oil out and see if I can find where it's leaking.
Well, change it to get it, because you don't want that diluted oil is dangerous for the bearings. It'll eat the bearings up very quickly.
Why is it showing more? Because there's
something out
volume
that
in it.
don't- yeah,
diesel
something that
diesel
does
fuel
not
most
belong
likely
there.
has gotten into the crankcase
Enough that it's
that's
showing
raising
on
the
the-
level. I
okay.
mean,
And the same thing will happen with if you run too much fuel additive. I mean, fuel additive is great, but our partner over at Hot Shot Secret has mentioned many times, just because we say this is good, don't double it to make it better. You're not, and if you put too much in, it will get into the oil. I mean, you'll naturally get some fuel into the oil just by attrition. It's going to run, and the engine's running, and you get but if you've got a lot of fuel additive and it's going past, that's dangerous on the engine. So always use your products correctly, and don't forget to use an additive in every tank in this and every diesel. Otherwise, you will end up with injectors that wear. They drop too much fuel in there, they leak. So again, think of that.
Quinn, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you.
That's all you got to do to fix it? I could have paid a guy $1,000 to do that. This is Under the Hood.
866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. Don't forget, if you miss an episode, you can get it wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch the show on our social media channels. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, which we're closing in on another milestone, so share it with your friends.
Share
if you
that,
subscribe there and join the Hoodie Fan Club at UnderTheHoodShow.com, you could win a hoodie.
Like Larry Gonzalez, congratulations from all of us here under the hood and our friends over at Berkeley One Classics, celebrating 50 years of collector car coverage. And of course, Universal Technical Institute. Find them at uti.edu.
And if you go to UnderTheHoodShow.com, you can just buy a hoodie.
You can. We sell a lot of them. We've got our vendors using a new
portal.
No, a new
store
thing to
new
send
computer.
them. And it's going. They're going quickly.
New system.
So I get a notification as soon as it's shipped. So whenever, like these winners here, when I enter them and say, Larry Gonzalez, congratulations, you won a hoodie. And I go enter it this afternoon. It's usually later today or right away in the morning. I get a text that says, hey, Larry, we just wanted to let you know we've shipped your hoodie out. I'm like, well, that was fast. So they go, it's more automated. So they go very, very quickly. So if you're it's hoodie season right now.
It is.
Not coat season.
That call earlier,
it'll get colder.
Just for context, for people that are listening all over the country, the world, that call was from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Where
This
2
gentleman,
weeks ago it was a high of 4 below.
yeah, he's taking his lawnmower out to beat up and bag some leaves. And it's February 12th today as we do the live recording. It's 65 degrees, 62 degrees, something today, 61 degrees, right?
55 for a high.
Oh, I'm going a little further west.
You're getting a couple days. We're gonna be near
this
60.
weekend they said we could be in the 60s. It's crazy.
It's really warm down south where it was the apocalypse because it was, like 8 degrees or 10 degrees.
You missed it. I was in
2 days and then back to 70s.
Florida a week ago.
Yeah.
And it was 29 degrees when we got to the park.
I was down there for the cool days too.
Mm-hmm.
It's been an odd winter. I know that we got once again the Daytona 500 coming up, and that's going to be questionable because they had a big system moving through with rain. It's going to be crazy.
They shoveled snow at the Madhouse last weekend.
Yeah,
which I totally missed. I knew it was coming, and I totally missed it all. I don't know what happened there. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Chaz. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Chaz, what can we do for you?
Good morning, guys. I got a 2011 Chevy Suburban with some transfer case issues. The actuator that you switch from two-wheel drive, 4 high, 4 low, that is stuck in 4 high. A little pre-story. We were coming back from the cities, driving in 4 high because the weather was not good. And I heard just a faint brrrr, and then it got more aggressive, and boom, and before I know it, I was sideways and in the ditch. Got it back home, put a transfer case in it because that was making all sorts of loud noises, and now it's stuck in 4 high, but the vehicle is in two-wheel drive.
It's been stuck that way since you put this transfer case in it?
Yes, correct.
So the motor that's on the transfer case, is that the one off of your old one or the new one?
The new one.
Okay.
And I bought that from you guys.
But you didn't program it, did you?
No, I hooked a computer to it, and I came up with a TCCM timed out.
Yeah. But you didn't program the transfer case motor when you put the transfer case in your vehicle.
No, I did not.
You need to do that. It has to learn all those positions of the transfer case when we put a motor on one, we got to program it. It's new to that model transfer case.
And that's it?
That should take care of the problem because it doesn't know where it's at. You have to tell it what gear it's currently in, which is 2 high, and then you go from there, and it will shift through each one, foot on the brake, in neutral, engine running, and it'll line them up, and it knows when it gets to the end because it sees an amp draw, stops, then it goes the other way, stops, and then.
Does Chaz do this, or does he bring it to someone?
Either way.
Okay.
I mean, you're gonna. I mean, if you do it yourself, you need the tool.
Right.
Most people don't have that tool at home, so you need to go to a shop that has that programming available, GM programming.
Okay.
There
Great.
you go.
Yeah, because when I turn the key on, I can hear the actuator kind of do its grinding noise or buzzing noise. Yeah, trying to move, and it doesn't move.
Mm-hmm.
And you never took the actuator off the transfer case you got from us, correct? You just left it as it was?
Yeah, I left it as it was, and last night I've been trying to figure it out, so I took it off and then turned the key on, and it did its spinning thing, so I know it's moving.
Do not ever move that motor. You're going to need to buy a new motor now.
Yeah, that's what I was sneaking up on, Russ. Explain to him what happens.
Yeah, if it's got a big warning in big red letters. If you look at a manual on one, it'll say, "Do not ever run a transfer case motor off of the vehicle," because it's got little wipers in there that measure the position, and it looks for amp draw to know when it's at the end. Like I said, it'll go to the end, it'll see the amp draw, then it'll go to the other end. See it. If it doesn't see it, it just keeps on rolling, and it goes in a big circle because it's like a window motor, and it'll destroy the sensor in there that tells it what position it's on the dash, the one that says 4 high, 4 low, 2 high. Those lights are just a reflection of the position it's in.
Is there any chance that he didn't ruin it?
Almost none. I don't know that in our shop I've ever seen one that was accidentally run off the vehicle that didn't damage it.
Would you see that as soon as you go in to try to program it?
You wouldn't be able to. You try it. I mean, just assume you need a motor. Try to program the one that's in there. And if it doesn't work, you're going to swap the motor and then
you probably take the one off your old unit, most likely.
Maybe, unless that failed, the sensor failed internally and caused it to shift into a different gear and ground up.
I'm more than likely, though, he probably, on your old one, was it just full of material and stuff when you pulled the fluid out of it or checked the fluid?
I only got like a small Dixie cup of fluid out of it, and the The plug was full of metal shavings, and we had a chunk or two come out of there.
Yeah, hopefully the motor on your other one's okay yet, and you just swap that over there, but don't run it off the transfer case.
Nope.
I almost was gonna make fun of you for making sure, but then it came true, and I was like, oh no.
2 motors on cars that never run. It's that one, and then the ones that run your air conditioning behind the dash. Don't take them off and see if they work. Because if you do that, just throw it in the garbage. Go buy another one, put it on, program it on the car. You can usually see a shaft going straight through it, so you can put your finger on it and turn the dial and see if it moves. You don't need to take it off and see if it moves. Just get a better look. Get a mirror if you need to, because if it moves, takes it out. So when you replace one of those actuators, just take it apart. 2 or 3 screws, pop the top off, and look, and you'll see exactly why and what we're talking about. Then you'll never need to do it. Chris will be like, I don't
like this. This one, this is my least favorite of the day right now. I mean, you know what I mean?
We gave Chad some things to consider.
866-594-4150. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we want to hear from you. We're going to Pennsylvania next on the Under the Hood Show.
Join the Motor Medics on Facebook, facebook.com/Under the Hood Show. Now, let's go under the hood with the Nordstrom's Motor Medics.
866-594-4150. Let's go to Pennsylvania and talk to Steve. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Steve, what can we do for you?
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call. I'm a big fan. I've been listening to your program for a long time, so thanks so much for taking the call.
Thank you.
I've got a 2014 Sierra pickup that I've been using, actually used to take my son from Pennsylvania to Texas. And I was towing him with a U-Haul. After about 10 hours on the road, I noticed coming out of my vehicle, I got a 5.3, by the way, a transmission smell, burning smell on the outside of the vehicle. But the transmission fluid didn't go down, and I didn't see anything below, nor did my radiator overheat or anything to that effect. And I'm just wondering, should I do something about it, or what can I do to see if there's not something wrong?
What does the fluid look like now? Still bright red like brand new, or is it turning brown?
No, it's not. It's not brown. It's I had it changed maybe I would say 20,000 miles ago, so it seems to be okay. And but I just noticed the smell on the outside of the vehicle, not anywhere else.
It was probably overheating. Transmission fluid overheating, you're smelling it out the vent. That's why now you need to check it again and see if it's starting to turn brown again. That means it was overheated to the point where it's, if you can smell it, it was too hot. It was getting to the point where it was hot enough to start oxidizing. And that's why you need to check the color.
Is that something I should change or again? Or
yeah,
I mean,
if it got hot enough to do it and it's oxidized, if it's already turning brown, it means it loses its properties of protection. So you'd want to flush it again and then keep that. You need to keep that temp down. A lot of those trucks have it's hidden in there if it doesn't have a gauge on the dash for trans temp, but you can see what it is if you flip through the menu and see where your temp is. And when it starts getting up above 200, it's getting to the point where it's going to start getting hot and burning that fluid. Or also, they've got a thermostat on the side of the transmission. We like to remove those. They make a billet one they sell for that. That's no thermostat in it. You just bolt it on in the place of the original one where the lines come in on the driver's side up front, and then it flows better, keeps it a lot cooler. We usually see at least a 20-degree drop in temps by replacing those.
I got to ask, because I was at the beginning of this phone call, I was confused slightly. I try to listen really good, but I'm not always tuned in completely. So how big of a U-Haul were you pulling, or was this being pulled by the U-Haul?
No, I was pulling a 6x12 trailer.
Oh,
and basically moving my son into his apartment. So
that's not that heavy.
It was full. I don't know what the weight of a trailer is.
That 6x12 is
I don't know what
super heavy.
they weigh, but
they're super heavy. I used to rent those things out to people, and they are extremely heavy by themselves. more than you would think because they're built like a tank. And then if you load them, I mean, you could easily, if the trailer plus everything that's in it, I see people get, 8,000-9,000 pounds in those.
Oh, wow. I was, okay.
With the trailer and everything, but maybe Chris could do some digging and look up and see what a 6x12 weighs.
I bet you it weighs 2,500 pounds empty.
I think it's more like 30.
Yeah, it was full. It was full. I had it packed full.
And it depends on what's in it.
And this was after, yeah. Well, it was couch, apartment stuff, right? But it was, this was after almost, believe it or not, 10 hours of driving because I was driving from Pennsylvania to Dallas.
Well, the wind
and,
on those 6x12s is what's the weight, Chris?
The weight is
empty weight
between 1920 and 2480, depending on whether it's
which
utility
model?
or.
And those are probably newer than the ones we were renting 30 years ago.
But
they can go 4,400.
But the point being the same is that even if he loaded that thing to the brim, he's going to be at 7,000, 8,000,
But they push a lot of
6,000.
wind.
Is this truck it's a 5.3, 14, new style? That should have a tow rating of at least 7,000 to 8,000 pounds, I would think.
Unless the transmission
just was getting tired.
Thermostat is sticking.
Yeah.
And overheating it.
Is it still shifting okay and working fine?
Yeah, it's shifting fine. It just smells. I'm worried whether I to do something.
We replace a lot of transmissions at our shop, and we sell so many, we get a great deal on them. So we pass that on to the customers, and therefore I get a lot in the shop. And that's one of our I'd say that is our most popular transmission right now is the 14 through the 17, 18 Silverado, the Suburban, the Yukons, Denali's, Escalade, all that.
My son has this same truck, a 14 Sierra, and we have put a transmission in that New Year's or Christmas.
A
2
lot
years
of
ago.
it comes from that thermostat on the transmission sticking. Everyone we put in.
Was that his present? That's
Yes,
what it's.
Either
being
get a
his present.
bypass, or they get the billet block, which we prefer in there, and it flows right through.
So to answer your direct question, I believe you had, yes, change the fluid and have them double check the flow to make sure it's flowing correctly and consider replacing that thermostat.
Is there a chance?
Bypass thermostat.
Is there a chance then that's it?
If
He's
it's
good to
shifting
go?
fine and working?
Okay.
Yeah.
Steve, thanks very much for the call. And thanks for listening. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Tim. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Tim, what can we do for you?
Hey, morning. Tim from Sioux Falls. Hey, I got a 2018 Toyota Camry hybrid, and the mileage has gone down drastically on that over the winter, and I'm just wondering what could be causing that.
Well, they normally go down quite a bit in colder months because the batteries can take a 30 to 40% hit in their charge capacity when it gets down under 30 degrees. That's just part of it. And you're going to get better mileage in town than you are on the highway because that's the way they're designed. And you'll lose, if you're mainly in town, you're going to lose a ton of mileage just because of that.
How many winters?
That's the question I wanted to know.
How many winters have you had this Camry?
Two.
Okay.
And I don't remember it being like that last year.
It was only cold for a very short period last year, like for a week and a week and a half.
It was a mild winter.
Yeah, we had that one little cold snap
Yes,
in
it was,
February,
yeah.
and that was it. It was crazy. And now I just looked at the forecast and noticed that it's going to be as warm here, way up north, as it is down south for the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I was like, we're almost warmer. How does that work? But and that's abnormal. But then back to the teens after that. So it'll affect your car. Cars are like people; they don't like cold weather.
Will it?
It does.
It'll affect this. I mean, it'll affect a hybrid every day, right? I mean, every tank of gas, if it's 10 degrees cooler,
Plus, it's an 18. It's time for a fuel system cleaning.
Okay. Yeah.
And you're not getting any trouble lights. The vehicle's not running any different, correct?
Nope, not at all.
8 years old, Chris.
And what's the difference? What's the mileage difference?
Oh, between
I'm asking
warm.
I'm
and-
asking Tim.
Oh,
Yeah, we're getting 42 now. We're only getting 30.
That's in the normal range.
I would,
as I say, 25 to 35% is normal when it gets really cold. But you do a fuel system cleaning on it, weather warms up a little bit, it's going to be more efficient. People, I got a thing to talk about later if we won't run out of calls, but I can talk about that in the after show about what you did, Chris, exactly about buying a car to get better.
Yeah.
You paid more for it, but your miles per gallon were better and it actually cost you less.
Yeah. Did you have another question there, Tim?
No, the fuel system clean, is that something I can do?
You can do it at home if you, so in our shop, we have a partner, CRC, that makes a at-home type cleaning. It's called an emission system cleaning kit, and it's designed to be used for at-home use. In our shop itself, and a lot of professional shops will use the Justice Brothers system, the fuel system cleaning, and we have a tool to install it and put it in. And that's
If he's
used
never
at
done
professional
that,
shop. It's time.
It really is
8
worth it to
years.
bring it in and have it done.
Yeah, have it professionally cleaned, really done, deep clean, good, get her done.
Tim, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. Yeah, that's about, I would say, a 10 mile an hour, 10 miles per gallon is not unheard of in the very cold versus.
You experienced that with your Prius?
Yeah. And because it also, if you let it run a little longer because it's cold, I mean, just the
or
whole
run period.
Yeah.
Some people never start them in the summer.
866-594-4150. Let's talk to Paul. You're on the End of the Hood Show. Paul, what can we do for you?
I got a 2023 F150 with a 5.0. I bought it about 15 months ago. It's got, I think I bought it with 28,000 miles, and I got like maybe 29,000 on it right now. It sits a lot. I'm still, 4,000 miles to where I need an oil change. My thing would be, how often should I be changing it if it's going to be sitting around a whole lot?
If it's sitting that much, I'd probably be changing like every 6 months. That's
okay.
That's
all right. I try to, we hop in it and take it to a restaurant, come back. That's about it. And my other question that I had, and then you kind of answered that one, then I'll just make sure that I'm changing it a couple of times a year. But my other question then is I also have another F-150. It is a 2013 with a 5.0. And the reason that I don't drive the other one is because this one here, I can't get it to frickin' die. And it just runs and runs and runs. And I'm hunting and fishing and it's one that I don't really worry about getting a scratch on it or nothing, and that kind of stuff. But one thing that does happen with this is I have a tendency of kind of feathering the gas pedal sometimes when I'm driving 30, 40 miles an hour or whatever, and it's just kind of one of them habits that is hard to break. And I'm, and all of a sudden it'll just boom down into frickin' second gear or first gear or something. So then I got to let off of it and just let it go back to normal. And then I got to say, yeah, dang it, quit feathering the pedal. What causes that other than my foot?
Well, the throttle position sensor that's not it's worn out. It can do that. It's seeing it thinks you're accelerating when you're not. That could do it if it's got a little glitchy computer software programming. Many things can cause that.
Transmission
failing. That'll do it too. Or it could do it just sometimes when it's warm, when it's cold, anytime in between.
Having a hard time choosing a gear, slams to the next one. You'd have to make sure it's electronically correct.
All of a sudden, it doesn't do it. Of course, when I have it on cruise control and I'm doing 65 or 80 or whatever, but and it does have 275,000 miles on it. I know it's not worth anything to anybody else other than me, so that's kind of why I have just been driving it and hoping that one of these days that it's going to die, but it just doesn't seem to want to.
Well, just the vehicle well.
That was my biggest question.
Tim, the vehicle well. Paul. Tim was the one before.
Mm-hmm.
You need to drive it so it doesn't do that.
Right. And that's the thing. He knows every time. He's like, I did it.
Just don't do that.
I know. My my buddy will be sitting next to me and he'll smack me. Quit doing that, because he can feel me freaking hitting a little gas a little bit and then letting off on it, and hitting a little gas and letting off on it.
Let me ask another question of you guys. Is that what's doing it, you think?
It could be just a looser, older transmission.
and
as he does that, it's like,
Yeah.
kunk. Yeah.
There you go. Paul, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. That the other one, the 23, the 1,000 miles a year with just taking it to the restaurant, that's about as bad as a thing you can do to a truck like that, right?
Yeah, unless you really warm it up. If it's 1,000 miles a year and you get it out, you drive 30 miles to go to that restaurant. That'd be great.
If he's doing a monthly drive of 100 miles.
We also didn't know
That's
if it was in climate-controlled storage either.
Right.
It would make a fair difference. If he had it in a garage that received heat and air conditioning from the house or something, you could go longer than that. It's, but if you're in temperatures up and down changing and you're not driving it, you need to get that oil changed.
866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. That's going to do it for hour 2 of the show. And we're going to hang around a little bit here and take some calls off the air on the after show if you want to give us a call. 866-594-4150. And it's good to have everybody back. This is nice.
The gang's here?
Yeah. I mean, it was just 1 week, but we felt your loss last week a lot.
I appreciated the cover because my son and I and some others, we had a great time, and it's probably the only time I'll get out this year. So, not that that's needs to be your problem.
That's going to do
That's
it
a good thing.
for the Under the Hood Show. All right, this is the after show. Woo! Gets crazy now. So.
Yes, it does. This is when we beg and plead to tell your friends to subscribe so we get to 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost
close.
Get that going. We've jumped a lot recently, so let's keep that going.
Yeah, run it like a pinball machine stuck between the bumper and the side. Just do that.
Mm-hmm. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Bob. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Bob, what can we do for you?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Great.
Yeah, I like listening to your show. I think you guys give great insight on all sorts of things.
Thank you. That's our goal, I guess, right?
Yeah, we try to do that.
Yeah.
We're not sure all the time if the insight's like perfect, but there's insight.
Yeah, something.
Well, this will make you scratch your head because it's been making me scratch my head for a while now. I got a 2011 Mustang GT with the Coyote 6-speed and got it this summer. It's been loved, but it still is in good working order. What I'm running into is I got some codes for misfire in the first 1,000 cycles, misfire on cylinder 2, and misfire on cylinder 8. So I replaced the plugs and drove another 100 miles and then got the codes back on. My question is it next to go to those coils and replace those?
Yeah. Yeah, the coils are super problematic on cars with coils bolted to the top of spark plugs like that. They fail all the time. I would definitely, and it's old enough. Even if those things are 3 or 4 years old, it's time to replace them. Tune-up item, put coils on it, coils, plugs, and see where you're at. Injectors usually hold up pretty good on those, but we put a lot of ignition coils on those engines.
When you're doing the coils, are you suggesting to do all the coils or just the ones that are problematic?
All of them. Because if you replace a couple of them, you're going to have some that are stronger than the others, and they're going to fail anyway. So you just get a set of them, put them all on.
Okay, here's the next thing. It's been converted into E85. All that stuff's been done. What I'm running into is, say I pull up to a light and I'm just idling. And I've got a tuner in there, programmer's reading, and I'm going 800 RPM, then it kicks all the way down to like 550, and then it jumps back up to like 900. Then it'll kind of idle there nicely, and then it'll dive back down to 600, and you can hear it. And I've actually had the engine shut off from idle just at the light.
It could be, that thing could be out of tune. I mean, it's still, when you tune a car like that as they wear, they need to be adjusted now and then because it's not a factory tune. It can't really learn. It can learn its factory items, but programming software, but it can't learn the aftermarket tune. So that's got to be adjusted. It may just need a trip back there. Sometimes when you have them tuned at a professional shop, they will make small adjustments for drivability without any extra charges, or not a big full charge like you pay $1,100 to tune one thoroughly one time. They usually don't charge you the same thing.
Going to be easy to get back to the tuner, and I may just end up having to get the transmission all redone because that's the next thing going out on it.
Did you call our show once before with this car and you had just bought it and you didn't quite know what had been done to it?
I have not.
Okay,
Nope.
we had a guy call us one show and he had bought a Mustang, and him and his son bought it, and they were having some problems with it.
That's right.
It was ringing bells with that, and they didn't know what had been done to the car, and it made it very difficult. And I remember Russ and I saying, you need to get that down to somebody that can tune that thing.
Yeah.
And be real careful with coils too. A lot of people are tempted to buy them off of Amazon or somewhere because they're super cheap there. There's a reason they're super cheap. You get what you pay for, and they're junk. If you can find a good one, in our shop, our choice for those is probably going to be the Standard. And from Standard, and when I say probably is if it's available for the vehicle we're working on, they're definitely available for the Mustang, the Coyote engines, but they're wound. They have better windings in them. They're better insulated. They don't break down. What happens in these coils is the insulation starts to break down on the windings on that bobbin in there, and then it starts arcing through the side, and it will miss. And I've seen those cheap coils miss from day one. I've seen them miss as early as 3 months down the road, and then it's a little tricky to get onto Amazon and try to get them warranted and swap them out. Some people put 2 or 3 sets on them, and some of them can be, this Coyote engine's not horrible, but some of these engines, you got to pull the intake manifold off the plenum to get to the back 3 or 4, and they're a nightmare. It's like, ugh, and they just don't run. Sometimes you'll have a little slight misfire sometimes at idle, and you're like, why do I show 3 or 4 counts on my misfire monitor when with the other coils I never did? So something to keep in mind when you're getting coils, get good ones.
So even if you get the ad like I've been getting about Temu's clearance sale for automotive, everything must go.
I can't imagine Temu coils.
Don't get those coils.
Cost them 88 cents to make that coil, and they sell it for $4. And
Bob, thanks very much for the call. Good luck with that Mustang. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to John. You're on the Under the Hood Show. John, what can we do for you?
Morning, guys. So I've been listening to you guys' show on podcast, and a while back, Russ had made the comment about with the 5.4 engine of the F150. Mine's an 08. I just had the cam phasers and timing chains and all that redone. I got a little over 200,000 miles on it, and he had made a comment about additives and stuff to kind of help prolong the life of it. Just kind of curious what that was.
To be fair to John, he could have listened to any hour of the show for the last 20 years
and had a chance
and
to hear
had a chance to hear this question.
I've got to applaud you because I think you already won. You've already won with that 08 with 200,000 miles on it. I'm surprised that did it get where it was starting to do the dieseling and codes and stuff? And that's why
not codes. There wasn't codes, but there was a rattle coming from the engine and a low idle for a long period of time. If it was just idling, it would randomly just shut off. But I could go out there, turn it right on again, and take off. And when they redid it, they actually found a guide for the timing chain, and it was broken. Yeah. So that could have been what the rattle was that I was hearing also. I'm not 100% sure, but I figured at 200,000 miles for $2,500, it was worth just redoing everything in the front there.
Yeah.
That's because what we do caution people just listening is if you have one of those in that range of 07 to 13 or 04 to 13 or whatever it is, they if they start doing problems with the phasers, so many times it's related to oil pressure in the engine, and people will spend a fair amount of money and put the phasers and the chains in it and then still have a problem very soon after. So you did yours because of a noise, and if they found a physical mechanical problem, that's pretty cool. This motor's getting that much life in it. What are you doing up till now on your oil changes and such?
It's at about 5,000 miles, and that was per the recommendation of my mechanic at the time.
Yeah, that's better. I know.
And he had switched to a different style of oil that was supposedly to make it to 5,000. Otherwise, before that, it was every 3,000.
Okay, well, you've done better than most.
And I have owned this vehicle. I think I bought it with 67,000 miles on it.
Yeah, I think you've won. I just keep doing what you're doing, and for sure. As far as you're talking about oil additives, there are some metal conditioners and stuff that would help.
Justice Brothers heavy duty vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay, I just had heard you guys talk about it, and I kind of like this pickup. It's an old. I mean,
sure.
It's got quite a bit of rust and stuff to it, but, I throw stuff in the back, and I don't worry about my children scratching it, climbing in and out of it. And
but would that be the one
rust that you down to the river or something like that? I just go.
Would that be your number one recommendation as far as what to use in that?
For the metal conditioner in it, save the engine.
Yeah, Justice Brothers heavy duty vehicle, and that's available at a lot of
and
parts
then pour
stores.
that right into the
in with the oil
cap. And, Okay.
Can you do that? Like he gets an oil change, brings it home, then put it in?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like 3 ounces for 5 quarts, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, make sure you're not just dumping the whole bottle in.
No,
probably?
no,
Okay.
no.
Because then you end up with more oil in the thing.
No,
than
you shouldn't do that. Too much is not a good thing. I mean, too much of a good thing is not always better.
But like I said, you're doing
It's
good
not chocolate cake.
You're doing good oil changes. You've thought through with a mechanic which oils work the best, because oil breakdown, it slings from the chains, it slings out of the tensioners, it doesn't cling like it's supposed to as it gets older, and that's what causes that stuff to break down. And I'm very pleased to know that you've got that many miles in this truck and you haven't had other problems with the dieseling that happens when the phasers start losing lubricant and low oil pressure because of the low idle. I mean, there's just a number of things that can happen. And once again, not on all of them. They built 100,000 of these things a month, and we see a lot of frequency because there's a lot of population.
John, thanks very much for the call. Now that he called and you've said that, his chances just went way up on it going bad, right? I mean, just
announcer jinx.
Yeah, just paying attention to it. It's a no-hitter through 8 innings, right?
Yeah, everybody starts watching.
Thanks very much for the call. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Jeremy in Minnesota. Jeremy, you're on the Under the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
So I've got a 14 Equinox. It was my wife's car. I just recently sold it to some friends of ours, but I've been having this problem with it, and I just can't wrap my head around it. I did the time chain the first time at about 135,000 miles, and everything went good. Shortly after that, I'd say within the next 10 to 15,000 miles, I had a check engine light come on with a camshaft to crank correlation error, but it was only on the exhaust side. It wasn't on the intake side. And beat my head against the car about 1,000 times trying to figure out what was wrong with it. And then I thought maybe the toner ring had slipped on the exhaust camshaft. I changed the exhaust camshaft out, changed all the crank and camshaft sensors, and changed my VVT solenoids out. And I cannot get rid of that exhaust camshaft crankshaft correlation error.
And you are 100% positive it is exactly in time. You put the lock bar on the cams to lock it when you timed everything and made sure everything's 100% in time.
I verified it 6 times before I pulled the pin on the tensioner.
Well, if you've got it verified, you know for a fact it's where it's supposed to be, and you've got a good new cam, so the tensioner's good. You got a new sensor in it, a new solenoid, so you know all that's good. Then you're going to have to start checking it electronically. check the wiring back to the computer and read the data and see what that shows. And it may need software programming too.
I did that because on my scan tool, I pulled up the live data on all three of the sensors, and I could see the rotation, and according to what I'm seeing on the graph, the intake and exhaust both seem to be in sync with each other for the data that the computer is getting.
If they are, then that code should not occur. It can't be out of time. If those two are in sync, then that means that if it says the exhaust cam's out, the intake cam has to be out too. If they're all together, if they're all timed exactly the same. So you might have a software program. You might have a computer issue. The computer might need to be programmed. I had one come in that they swore our engine was bad because they had bought an engine from us. And they were screaming and yelling, and yeah, well, it was a dealership. Car came to us from a very long way, and we got it into the shop, and I looked at the codes and went, there's some other codes in there that are a little familiar for one of these that should not be there for the problem they're having. And I pulled the connector off the computer, and it was completely green because on that side was a terrain, and where you put the washer fluid in, it goes right on that computer, and that washer fluid's really corrosive to like those plastic, it'll eat them. And it got in there, and I said, well, you need a harness and you need a computer. You can do it or we can do it. And go ahead, you do it. So we put that in, and magically our engine was fine again. So you can get a lot of weird electronic things that will seem like mechanical things. So it may be perfectly in time, and the engine might be perfectly fine, but it might be software or hardware.
Yeah,
wire.
It's up to, I think it's up to 185,000 miles on that car now, and it runs beautiful. It was my wife's car before we had sold it to those friends of ours, and it frustrated me, and I was like, you know what? It's Thursday. I'm off today. I'm going to call under the hood.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we can see by what Russ just said why you were beating your head against the car, not the wall. You just chose the car in this case.
Yeah, it was the closest thing. I was stuck underneath it. So
I'm glad you're with it to call us today, because that's a lot of head beating.
I've got a thick skull if nothing else. So
what if it turns out to be just a computer? I mean, a glitch, basically, right? I mean, what a
oh yeah,
what a bummer.
Yeah, but like I said,
and that was my thoughts too. It's just I wanted to get somebody else's opinion on it. The only code in the car is exhaust cam to crank correlation. That is the only code.
And you've done the VVT solenoid, you said?
Yep.
All right. Well, there you go. That's just think how happy you'll be if that's it, though, and you fix it. Jeremy, thanks very much for the call. All right, that's going to do it for the after show. Anything else you want to get in there? Anything going on?
Well, Russ had made a tease about fuel economy.
He should save that until
should he save that for another complete
till someone's not
together?
calling. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right. Ready? Ready?
I'm ready.
Break. Thanks, everybody. Subscribe. Get some share it. Let's do the thing. 10,000.